For 9211 coming at you with another live video. This is going to be a special video for Team DMA, which stands for Dark Magic Attack, the Akatsuki. Just in case you didn't know, I know I've said it before, but people don't understand. So I started a group, I think like 3 years ago. And all I do is I take people who don't know how to play Dark Magician, and then I make them learn the basics, then I train them, and the whole purpose is for them to surpass me, like to be better, the disciple better than the master. Obviously, I have 100% success rate so far. I've had 7 people go through the program, and 4 of them actually they either won their locals or they're doing close. And 3 of them actually went to YSC and did really good. So obviously, as soon as people learn the basics and how the Dark Magician deck works, its weaknesses and how to improve it, then they do real good. The second thing that I do, obviously, if you know anything, I sell some of the cards online or locally, and then whatever is left over of the year, like the last year revenue or whatever is left, is stored in a miscellaneous pile. Some of the decks and stuff like that they're just giving away. So in 3 years I've given a little over $4,000 of free cards. So so yeah, that's basically what the channel does. The other portion of it is I train people how to play Dark Magician. It doesn't matter what level you're at. I try to take you to the next level. If you already know everything, well, there's nothing I could teach you. But the funny thing about that is, especially the people that say that there's nothing I can teach them, they're the ones that need the most help, because they suck at locals, they never won at locals, and then when they go to YC, they suck as well. And then they'll say that they don't need help as a clear indicator that they don't know what they're doing. The Dark Magician deck has been relevant since I think October or December 2019, when the Magical Heroes came out in the US. I think copies were already roaming around by the end of December, early January. But a lot of people got to playtest the deck starting from May, which is like May 2019. So by the time it was the year, I'm sorry, yeah, by the time it was the year 2020, when COVID hit, I had already mastered the deck, and my deck is already the profile that I have it now, and I've been killing all kinds of decks. So you can see it way back 3 years ago. I already knew everything that people are just barely starting to figure out. So we're gonna move forward with this video. I'm gonna show you a video of dueling. This video is strictly only for Team DMA Akatsuki members, which is like 7 of us. And then if you already know everything, then who cares? If you don't know, just listen, learn, ask questions on the comments. Any outsider that wants to learn, you're welcome to look at the video. If you didn't know, you can comment. If you have questions, you can also comment. But if you disrupt the class, because one of the roles of my channel is, as long as you don't bully, I don't care myself. Like, I don't care at all. But if they bully a member, or if they cause a member issues, I will block you and delete you immediately. But before that, I'll just destroy you. But yeah, that's what's going on. So then we're gonna go into a live duel and then talk about what's going on so that people understand the basics. So in case you didn't know, the name is on the top of this. This is the app Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Mobile Ghost. If you want to download it, I would like to do some challenges. In this app, because the app goes extremely fast. It has AI system, and then it also has worldwide dueling. So to be honest with you, 0% I use it to duel worldwide, because I'm only interested in dueling against the AI for formats. Because remember, I sell online and locally, so I have to establish fluent, good decks to sell. You already know the usual prices are like 55, 65, 100. 250, and they go from there 800, 1000, 2000. So depending on the format that people ask. So then, uh, besides that, I do all the other. I don't do locals or YCS anymore. In case people didn't know, I don't have the time for it anymore. Um, so yeah, I'm an adult. I don't want to say my age, but yeah, I'm an adult. Some people they still want to do it, and that's fine. I just rather concentrate on other things like properties and stuff like that. My mind is set differently now. I just do this for fun because I used to play. Then also I had a lot of leftover cards, and that's why I give so many cards away. It's just giving back to the community. I'm not really gaining anything from it. So here we go. So if you pay attention, on our side we have preparation of rites, dark magic circle, magician souls, magician's rod, and then another magician souls. Our opponent, they have the man eater, eater of millions, solemn judgment, drowning mirror, ash blossom, and then the kaiju. So basically, the reason why I tell people not to play hand traps in the Dark Magician deck is because of only one solid reason. Nobody, as far as I know in existence, has been able to enter into the top 30 or less, like 37, 38 place, 35, 30th place or less, like into the 20s, the 15s or the teens, the 10s, the 7th and 8th place. Nobody's been able to enter those places with the Dark Magician deck. Everyone goes higher than 100, which technically means the deck sucks. They might not admit to you because a lot of people are liars. Remember, the large percentage of humanity, they're liars. It can't be that they're good, honest people. If that were to be true, we would be in heaven. This is the planet Earth. So here, what happens more is the evil is what's more in power. So, so what's going on is the people they brick. Dark Magician is known as a brick deck. That's why people don't play Dark Magician. That's why it's not represented as much at the locals. But if people know how to play the deck, it would be represented more. That means that there's only a handful of intelligent, smart people that know. So I would say out of 1,000 Dark Magician players, maybe only 3 or 4. It sounds crazy, but I'm being honest with you. Only 3 or 4 of those know how to play the deck. Sadly, that means that the rest, like 997, they don't know what they're doing. So the reason for that is because they don't understand 1-to-1 ratios. So 1-to-1 ratio is a card that you play, it does one thing. If it gets negated or destroyed, it's done. So hand traps are that. Hand traps are that. They're a 1-to-1 ratio. Their whole purpose is to be discarded to negate. After that, they become dead. So then, there is an introduction of the Baron de Fleur, the Synchro. That one opens up the hand traps to do more than one thing, which is currently okay to play hand traps, but previously it was not as good. Now some people can say, yeah, you could play it with certain cards. Yeah, but a lot of the cards were not Omni Negate. They're not Omni Negate, and they weren't that good. But with Baron de Fleur, if there's 3, you could probably play 2 or 3. And you can skip Dragoon and just enter into him. You have the same result. So obviously Dragoon's a little bit more powerful, but it's good to enter an Omni Negate. So then you look at his hand, your opponent's hand. Um, he has 3 negations for you. And in a Dark Magician deck, you need to be able to have every card live. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is the card should be able to do 1 to 3 things per card. If they negate it and destroyed it, it should be able to do something else. Every card should do at least 2 to 3 things. If the card is able to do 4 things, the card is considered a top tier card. It does the first thing, like normal special, or just play it like a spell or trap. Then it has a secondary effect that it could do something else. Then it has a third purpose, and then it transcends and it goes to a fourth thing that it does. And when they do 2, 3, and 4 things, that's when the card is a top tier, and those are the cards that need to go into the YCS. Magician Souls is that card. The first thing is it can normal, it can also special, and then it can also dump a card in the graveyard. It can also draw you cards. Then it can also link. That's a lot of things. It's doing 4 different things, and then it has a 5th. It could be utilized later to come back and redo some of his effects. That's why we play restage. So there could be like a restage. Magician Souls, they total out to do about 6 or 7 different combos from those 2 cards. It's too powerful. Like, I'll show you the step 1. It could dump a Dark Magician, bring him out. It did 2 things. It special summoned a Dark Magician, and then 2, it dumped it from the deck. And then Magician's Restage brings the Magician Souls back to the field. That's 3. Then it can trigger the effect of sending the Restage to the graveyard. That's 4. It'll draw a card. 5, and then 6. With whether they negate it or not, it doesn't matter. Restage will activate in the graveyard, so it'll escape the negations. So then you draw a specific card that you want, the right hand or the left hand. Then after that, it can synchro. Or you can use Magician Souls to stack a specific card that you want, like a Rod or a Secrets of Dark Magic, or anything that you feel like stacking. It does way too many things, man. Seriously. And that's why I win some of my duels. People don't notice I'm doing a sequence. 1 or 2 cards are doing like 7 things. How can my opponent stop me? At that point, their hand traps are useless. So we're going to go ahead and play, and then I'm going to go over what I just said with the plays, so that the people understand mentally, and then use it to their advantage. One negation, 2 negation. So if you saw that, we were easily able to go in through several combos through 2 negations with ease. And then after that, our turn would have been again. I went for the OTK. Why drag it along? Some decks you don't want to drag it along. If you can OTK and chain. So we took 2 negations. And then on top of it all, we chained. We chained. So if you had 6 cards and they stopped 2, you just have 4 to work with. And the 4 cards that had left, they had a lot to do. And that's what people doesn't understand. There was a 3rd negation on the field. So out of the 6 cards, 3 cards or maybe all of them were going to be negated, because once you attack, all the cards get sent to the deck. But if you saw from the 4 cards that I had left, I was able to establish a negate or an interruption through that. So that's why your cards have to be able to go through a lot of negations and counter, send fire back, fight fire with fire. You're supposed to simultaneously be taking negations while dishing out negations or interruptions against your opponent's negations. So it's like playing fire with fire. You can't cry and complain about being negated. You just have to extend plays, play correct sequences. We're going to go into that in a bit so that you can see for yourself. So here we are, guys. We're going to talk about the sequence. This is now the draw hand versus the opponent's draw hand. So if you already know, he has 3 interruptions / negations done against you. So this is what we have for opening hand. But if you look carefully, each card is numbered the different sequences that it can do. So I'm going to go over them in detail. So Magician Souls, you have 2 of them. You want to practice not crying and complaining. You only want results. There's no excuses. So if you get 2 of a card or 3, don't cry about it. Just deal with it. Work with it. That's what an adult does. So Magician Souls, number 1, it can either normal or special summon itself. Number 2, it can dump a Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl into the grave. So it draws from the deck. Then number 3, it can special summon itself or the Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl. And then it has a fourth interaction. It can draw cards, and the card actually has a 5th because the card can link into something else. So this is why I play restage, because the card does about 5 to 6 things, and I do it twice. Sometimes even when I send it to the graveyard, people think like, oh, you shouldn't have summoned Dark Magician. What they don't know is I have restage. So I get the whole value, like 100% of the value of the card. If a card costs a lot, you should make it work a lot. It's kind of like having a worker. I've said this before. People do not understand this mentality because they're not intelligent. They're poor. They live in an apartment. They don't understand complexity. They don't understand financial gain, cash flow. They don't understand any of those words. They don't know what any of that means. So if you pay a worker a lot of money, you should expect a lot of work from him. So Magician Souls is one of those cards. You pay a lot for it if you weren't smart, but if you were smart, like people on my people that take my advice, you buy the card when they're cheap and resell it when they're super expensive. I'll buy a card cheap, but make them work a lot because I'm financial intelligence. But basically, Magician Souls is an expensive card and you want to make it work a lot. So it could do that. So it has about 6 moves that it could do in total. I just wrote down 4. And then you have the rod. The rod can either be normal summoned, and then it triggers number 2. It triggers an effect to draw a card, and then number 3, it can link. If you have other cards to combo, it can go on to an extension of 4 moves or more. Obviously, the other Magician Souls, I already had talked about it. And then your circle. Um, yes, like I was saying, the circle you play it, it draws um, it draws in a card. It draws a card. It has um, the one purpose you're able to see. Um, Number two, it can pull a card, um, so it allows you to see what's next, and it allows you to pull a card. If it's Dark Magician related, there is a certain number of cards that you can select from that. And then third, it stays on the field for Magician Souls. It does have more effects, um, like banishing a monster. Um, when a Dark Magician comes out, um, so it has multiple effects too. Even if they negate it, it does multiple things. Um, and then you have other cards to re-get the cards back from the graveyard, back onto your hand, back into the deck, to reuse them. So everything's recyclable. So even though you have a $40 deck, some cards, instead of having one ofs or two ofs or three ofs, you actually have six. It's times two. If you have one, you have times two. You have two, you have times four. If you have three, you have times six. And then the last one is the preparation of rites. If you read, I know it's a little sloppy. I just wrote it in with a pencil. I didn't download anything professional or anything like that. But it says 1 and 2 effects. Number 1, you play it. And number 2, it'll let you search as a searcher. And people can say, why are you counting the cards for 1? Isn't a card supposed to do everything? No, that's a sign that you don't know how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! That's why when people comment on my channel and I go to their channel, they suck. They don't know how to play Dark Magician. They don't know how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! At all. Like, they don't even know the basics. None of this is supposed to be like a difficult understanding. You were supposed to figure it out the first at least 6 months that you played Yu-Gi-Oh! And people don't learn that. They already have 4, 5, 10 years and they still don't know how to play. It's just like everything in life. You'll have people that know and people who don't. The people that don't, it's going to be a greater majority. So, yeah, so having said that, it's a no because there's a lot of cards that are dead cards. So we're going to talk about that shortly after. So it says plus bait. Plus bait means it's a card that is played in the sequence first. Not second, not third, not fourth, not fifth. First. You play the card first to bait. There's a sequence in the way that every deck works best, like YCS formats and everything, even local tournament champions. People wonder, like, how come they win and I can never win? How come I copy their deck and I don't do as good as them? And the answer is simple. It's not a deck problem. It's a player problem. I don't know if you've ever heard of the term, not a car problem, a driver problem. Well, in this case, the problem is not the decks. It's the ones who's playing them that don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. So that would explain why they can play the deck that somebody else plays that they're the best. But when the other person plays it, he sucks. And that mixes in together with people that don't know how to make decks. So it is the truth. It sounds hardcore. People don't like it, but it doesn't matter. On my channel, I tell you the truth. I don't care about your feelings. I just care about telling you the truth. So the cards are played in a sequence, and then in a sequence they resolve. So when all the cards get negated, all your good cards resolve in the end. People don't know that. It's such a simple, basic concept. So this is why, even though I'm getting negated too many times, I still win, because I know the sequence, I know the bait cards. Dark Magician has a lot of bait cards. When a person plays hand traps, you should already know that like the way that I build my decks are set up to go through a lot of negation, like YCS style. So when they negate me 1, 2, 3, all of those 3 cards, they're burned. So he just has whatever he has left to go with the arsenal of my hand and my deck and my field and my combos, and it's not enough to win, and that's why I win. But then when we go to the people's channel, no videos of them going through negations. The only time they'll post a video when they go through negations, the only time is when they have their board already established, and that is an indication that they suck. You have to have at least 2 to 3. This is just basics, guys. This isn't honestly, it's not like out of this world. 2 to 3 negations per turn, every single turn for the duel is normal. It does not make you a special duelist. It doesn't mean you're a good duelist. It doesn't mean nothing. It just means normal. You're a normal player. And this is why people hate certain cards, because they suck at Yu-Gi-Oh! They don't know what they're doing. So to be a YCS champion or local tournament champion, you have to be able to go through 3 to 4 negations per turn. On my channel, I have 6 to 9 negations done against me per turn, and I still win. Ask me and I'll send you the reference. So 1 to 2 negations is a rogue style, meta style. That's why you can never go higher than that. If you want to go top tier, you have to practice going to 2 to 3 every turn, like basic. This is a basic platform. And this is why the people that I teach how to go to YCA or local tournaments, they're so successful, because I teach them, don't wait until you get to YCS. Do not wait until you go local tournament to get negated 3 to 4 times. Do it now. Pull your hand, do test hand, do like 10 test hands, and get negated once, the 10, and then do the 10 again, get negated twice, and go up the ladder. Get negated 3 times, and then in the end, get negated 4 times per turn, per draw. And then jot down on a piece of paper improvements of the deck so that you can make it into a higher negation count. And you know what they do? They do that, and then they enter into going through 3 to 4 negations. So when they go to local tournaments, they either win the first place, or they get high, or they go to YCS and they do excellent. They do 70 or less. I have some people hit 70 spot. Other people hit the 50 spot. Magic Calibra hit 30. I have 2 close friends. They didn't hit as high as Magic Calibra. I think they hit like the 40th place. And this has to do with that simple trick that you have to go through a lot of negations. Don't be like people that cross their fingers. Oh, I wish they don't have negations. That is a sign that you suck. You don't know what you're doing. You have to be looking forward to 3 to 4 negations per turn and simultaneously returning fire with fire. And then once you're able to do that, then you become a local champion. Then you become a YSC. Hand traps are a 1-for-1. If they break you, it's a 1-for-1. You're at a disadvantage. With the new Baron, like I said, the Fleur, that changes, because then you have Omni Negate. So I guess the hand traps would be okay. Now, for other decks, hand traps are perfect, like Prank Kids. And there's so many other decks, like Drytron, but they have their own hand traps. There is decks that play good, that win YCS top 10. I'm not talking about those decks. I'm talking about the Dark Magician. This is what my channel is about. So we've covered mostly everything. If you have any questions, comments, make sure you subscribe for more content. This is for Dark Magician, the Dark Magic Attack, the Akatsuki group. Any outside members are welcome to. But this is the 101. I guarantee you no one describes things like this. This is knowledge that I had since May of 2019, almost 3 years ago, and people still don't know this. So I just showed you the play, and then when you go back to all my videos and see me go through like 6 negations in one turn, then it makes sense. You're like, oh, he's playing in a sequence. Oh, he's going through the negations. Oh, wow, he took 12 negations in 3 turns and still won, and then it'll make sense to you. Then we're on the same page. So with that being said, dark magic attack!